Hi, and welcome to Lessons on Demand. This is Scott Schilling, and I'll be your trainer for this session today on closing the sale. This session is called Engage the Sale. Remember, we're using the EMPOWER acronym, Empower Your Presentations. So we're now at the sixth step in the sales cycle. This is when we actually confirm and engage the sale. Explore the marketplace, meet the field, prep for success, offer the goods, weather the storm. Now it's time to finally engage the sale. It's time to actually close that sale. Now, there's going to be a lot of information in this session, so I suggest you take out a pad of paper, a pen, or a pencil. Get ready to take some notes. The beauty of these lessons on demand is you can go back and listen to them as many times as you want. You can certainly stop them along the way. Make notes. Go ahead and take things and critically think about them. I'm not asking you to accept everything right out of the blocks, but I am asking you to critically think about what I present here. Put it into your own terms. Really bring it into your own awareness so that you can, in fact, become better as we go along. As we've started most of these sessions, I want to remind you that selling skills will make you king. You have to invest the time and effort to understand great selling skills. There's 7 steps to the selling cycle. Many of you, when you started this program, didn't realize that. That's okay. Doesn't matter where you were, only matters where you want to get to in this entire process. It's about constant and never-ending personal improvement. Remember, we start from a position of others' orientation. What's in it for them? So we got to focus on what's their interest, what's in it for them, where they're going with everything from that side. Remember, 90% of the folks in most cases are not in the market openly for what you have, and another 3% think what they're doing is working, or 3% is ready to buy, so the other 90% think what they're doing is working. So it's really incumbent upon us to present in such a way to show folks that there's another opportunity for them to take care of their situation. Bottom line, we have to create value in everything we do. Everything is about taking your product, your good, your service, your cause, and putting it into a situation where the person that you're presenting it to, in fact, sees the value and the benefits they will derive from taking advantage of your offering. Again, bad news motivates. Now remember, we're in the closing process here. I don't want you to get too heavily into the pain side of this thing at all. We have to recognize it. We have to know that it exists. But what we want to do is we want them to get to strive for pleasure in their situation. So we want to set up buying criteria that gets fulfilled with them getting the benefits and now feeling the pleasure from the purchase, the commitment they make, whatever it might be, the donation they make to your cause. Ultimately, we've presented our solution. Now we need to confirm the agreement that they're going to take advantage of that. We've created an environment for them to take advantage of what you have to offer, and that's going to be the right choice for them. Selling is a cycle. Done properly, the last step leads back to the first. We're almost at that last step, so it's almost time to start a new cycle with a new set of prospects. Each step is valuable independent, and you can even get away with missing a step here or there and be successful in the short term. But again, I implore you, learn all 7 steps and do them in order the vast majority of the time. Why? Your life will be easier. You will do more business. You will serve your customers better. They will send you more business. You will like the result from doing this business in this fashion going forward. So as we get into it, again, step 6 is engage the sale. Asking for the order is as natural as the sun setting in the evening. It's just the conclusion. You've done all the work. You identified your marketplace. You met them. You asked them questions and qualified them. You made the presentation. You made it through the tough part of handling the objection. The thing to do next is ask them to take advantage of whatever it is that you presented. It's just the next natural conclusion. For some reason, some salespeople get in their mind that at this point they freeze. Well, ask people if they want to take advantage of it. What's the worst thing they can tell you? No. Your life didn't get worse. It might not have gotten better, but it got no worse. But if you don't ask, they won't take advantage of it. It's just that simple. With a yes, you simply write up the order. Remember, when somebody says, I want to take advantage of what you have, the sales time, the presentation time is over. There's no need to tell them about one more feature, advantage, or benefit. There's no need to go further because they've already made that decision. We want to gain efficiency with our sales process. We want to do this and make sure we don't oversell or sell ourselves out of a sale. That happens all the time, where somebody all of a sudden adds one more point that they think is really important, and now it creates confusion within the mind of the prospect. When they say yes, you write the order. Just that simple. A while back I was coaching a chiropractor, and he was giving his report of findings. Report of findings is basically a detail of what they found in your examination and the sales presentation as to why you should come under care. His standard report of findings was about 28 or 30 minutes. He told me how after about 7 minutes, his prospective patient said, I'm good to go, let's start treatment. And he said, well, I haven't finished my report of findings. Oh, yes, you have. If it takes 28 to 30 minutes, then it's 28 to 30 minutes. And if it takes 7 minutes, it's 7 minutes. You can now tell them the rest of the information throughout the rest of their treatment cycle. You don't do it then. When they say it's time to go, it's time to go. With a yes, you write the order. With anything other than a yes, you simply hear them out and respond accordingly. This is when you go back to that step of weathering the storm. Or you might even go all the way back to prepping for success. You might go all the way back and start asking them more questions. Then ask permission to make a new presentation, a new offering of the goods. Watch for any new objections, and then go and engage the sale again. Do you understand? This is why it's a cycle. You can bounce back a couple steps to gain clarity and come back through it again. That's really the proper way of doing it. Understand that in a number of situations, you might have to backtrack a little bit to come back forward. That's okay. We want clarity on the part of our prospect. We want, when they engage the sale, when they confirm their agreement, their order, we want them to be certain that this is what they want and that they have all their questions answered. It's okay. It's just part of the process. Use third-party endorsements. I shared this with a prospective customer the other day. We were talking about them retaining the services for training. And I said, one of the things about training is coming down and understanding the value of what you get here. As an example, one of the points that I would share with you in this training is that you telling me that what you do is good really doesn't persuade me all that much. And the reason is simple. I expect you to tell me what you do is good. When your customer tells me what you do is good, now I'm impressed. See, I expect you to tell me. If you don't tell me, I'm kind of concerned about you, quite frankly. But if your customer tells me you're good, that carries more weight with me than you telling me you're good. So use third-party endorsements. Another student just like you has used this material to do this. Those kinds of things. And then let them see that information or talk to that student. Again, turn your customers into raving fans. Fans that you can refer to at any time. You can say, hey, there's another person in the XYZ profession just like you. In fact, if you'd like, I can supply their phone number, and they'd be happy to share with you how this product has helped them in your profession. Again, it's about using all the tools available to you to get your message across. Then and only then do you finalize the details again. Remember, we want to engage that sale. We want to finalize. We want to get their name on the dotted line. There's no doubt that's what we're looking to do. We want to do that with quality, though. We want to do it so that, in fact, they feel like they're taking advantage of the offering that's there, that they're not being sold, that they're buying instead. It's a difference in perspective. When they buy, they made the decision. There is no buyer's remorse because they made the decision. When you sell, when you manipulate them into something, they're going to look back at it and feel bad about something. We don't want that whatsoever. We want them to make the choice. We want to give them all the reasons and all the tools to be able to do that. Now, your close starts the minute you meet. What do you mean? We haven't even said anything yet. The fact is, everything is taken into consideration in the close. If you've got this pout face going the first time somebody sees you, why would they want to do business with you? Ultimately, you're going to be supplying them a solution. Well, why would they want to do it with a sourpuss? They might buy your product, but they'll buy it from a different salesperson. The thing is, your close starts immediately. You have to make a good first impression. It's just that simple, because that first impression becomes the next impression, the next impression, and the next impression. Remember, this is a natural progression of the selling process. And if you don't ask, you don't get. They can always say no, that's fine. But if you don't ask, you don't get. So you've got to become creative in how you do that. In fact, ask, 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 ask. You're going to have to learn to do that in different ways. Now, I'm not saying latch onto their pant leg and don't let them go, but you're going to have to learn how to ask closing questions tactfully multiple different ways. I still insist that if you do this the right way, there's only one closing question that you'll ever have to learn, and that is, so what do you think? See, if you've done a good enough job of creating this environment where they want to take advantage, it should really come down to that question each and every time. So what do you think? You ready to take advantage of this? The question is so simple and so common sense, and yet, as we've all learned, common sense is not so common. Now, the most common responses when people are studied, non-buyers are studied as to why they don't buy, is alarming, to say the least. The answer is they were never asked to buy. See, the salespeople get intimidated. They don't know how to handle objections. They are only taught on delivering the feature set of their product. So it's feature, 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 feature. Thanks for shopping. No, they aren't asked. So what? Nobody ever asks, what do you think? It doesn't make any sense. This is a natural progression. After you present what you have to offer, the next part of that is, so would you like to take advantage of this? They're going to say yes, no, or maybe. And in any situation, you are now prepared. With these lessons on demand, you are now prepared better than you've ever been before in how to handle those responses. Yes, we write it up. No, we listen to why not. Maybe we hear what they need to have clarified. Now, in a recent survey, 96% said the salesperson lost control of the selling situation and never asked for the order. That's a tragedy. That means all these people spent all this time presenting all this material and made nothing for it. They didn't solve the customer's problem. They didn't make any money for their company, and they ultimately didn't make any money for themselves. Nobody was served in that situation. The only way you're really going to know if you serve somebody is by having them take advantage, or at least have the opportunity to take advantage of the solution you offer. In effect, if you don't ask them to buy, you're making a no buying decision for them. In other words, if you ask them to buy and they say no, they've said no. But if you don't ask them to buy, it's like they've said no. In other words, you've made that decision for them. You don't give them the opportunity. You got to give people the opportunity to take advantage of what you have to offer. Just that simple. Whether they do or not is a whole nother subject. But you at least have to give them the opportunity to take advantage of what you have. Now, this is such a telling study. It's absolutely amazing to me. There was a recent study done at Notre Dame University on selling patterns and salespeople's interactions with the marketplace. Here's what they found. 44% of all salespeople quit trying after the first sales call. In other words, they were a one-and-done situation. If they didn't buy today, it's on to the next one. They didn't try to cultivate or build a relationship. It was, in essence, a one-stop close. I'm going to meet you, I'm going to present to you, I'm going to do everything, and I'm going to walk off. And if it doesn't work today, I'm going on to somebody else. In other words, they're just burning through prospects left and right. Now, this study showed that 44% of all salespeople quit trying with that prospect after the first call. Another 24% quit after the second attempt. Another 14% quit after the third call. Still another 12% quit after the fourth call. In other words, 94% of all salespeople quit trying by the fourth call. Now you're saying to yourself, come on, Scott, I talk to people more than that. Do you? Are you sure? Again, this was a study across a vast array of people. I get that fact. But statistically, it says 94% of all salespeople quit trying after the fourth call. Now, why is this important? Well, quite simply, it's important because 60% of all sales come in the fifth call or after. That's right. That means only 6% of the salespeople were still in the game. You start to understand why certain people do better than others. Persistence is a great example or a great reason for it. The fact of the matter is, the first day is the worst day. The second day is better. The third day is better. It's the same thing on the calls. I'm going to talk to you once. I'm going to ask you to buy. If it doesn't work, I'll get your permission to stay in touch. I'll come back and I'll talk to you together. Remember, we're in a 24/7, 365 forever business. We are in business to provide solutions for the rest of our lives. 24/7, 365 forever. So, if somebody doesn't purchase my training the first time, okay, maybe they don't know, like, and trust me enough at that point. And remember, they take action when they're ready, or maybe they know, like, and trust me, but they're not ready. So then I'll talk to them a period of time later. And then another period of time, and then another, and then another, and then another. You know what? It's not up to me to determine their time frame. It is up to me to stay in touch with them and from time to time offer what is available. It's about providing solutions. That's the idea. We want to consistently provide solutions over an extended period of time. Now, we would love for them to take advantage of it on the first call. The issue is, many times that's not their timing, and that's okay. The question is, are you one of the 6% that's still in the game for 60% of the business? If you're not, I suggest you look at your practices and you put that into place. That's going to be a big thing in growing your business going forward. The question is, are they hot yet? Are you asking at the right time? Are you really reading their buying temperatures? This comes back to the example I gave you of the report of findings earlier. If somebody says, hey, doc, I'm ready to start treatment, believe them. If they say, you know what, I've seen enough, believe them. Are you reading their buying temperatures? Are you really seeing? Is the teapot whistling and you're not listening? What's the reason a teapot whistles? Because enough heat is built up, which produces enough steam, which now creates enough pressure to exit the spout and whistle. How many of your prospects have been whistling? You've given them enough features, advantages, and benefits. They are as excited as they can be to hand you money for whatever it is your offering is, or maybe donate to your cause. But you keep on talking. Stop. When they say, I want to buy, you close your mouth, you say yes, sir, or yes, ma'am, and you start writing the order. It's just that simple. Is the teapot whistling and you're not listening? The pressure has been built up, the buying pressure, that is. That's a good thing. We want them to take advantage of it when they want to. Now, just as we did the alternative choice question in prepping for success, this is another place where you can use that as alternative choice, and it becomes positive choices. It's the choice between something and something, both that are good for everyone concerned. Would writing a check or using a credit card be better for you? This is just an either-or situation. Would this or this? Would Wednesday delivery or Friday delivery be better for you? Again, this is a positive choice. You're trying to get them to come to an agreement as to a way of paying their bill or a delivery date or any of those kinds of things. This is called a positive choice close. Choice between two things. Both are good for both of you. Now, timing isn't everything on your side because it's not your timing. It's theirs. This goes back to the three absolutes. People take action when they're ready. It has nothing to do with you or your time frame. It has everything to do with them and their time frame. So we need to be asking on their time frame. This is, again, back to that same example. If at 7 minutes out of a 30-minute presentation they said, I've got all the information I need, I'm ready to buy, they're ready to buy. Give them that opportunity. It's that time. It's their time, and they're willing. When you see the temperature rising, it also may be time to change modes. Let's just say that you've asked them to buy a number of times, and all of a sudden you see them getting a little red in the cheeks, or their tone has changed a little bit. There's something going on there that you might want to back off a little bit. You might want to change the subject for a little bit. You might want to not close quite as aggressively. Again, we want everybody to do this because they want to take advantage of it. We certainly don't want to aggravate somebody into a close. We want to go just the opposite. We want to love them into a close, quite frankly. So if you see the temperature rising, you might want to back off a little bit in the closing process. Go back to the prepping for success, ask some more questions, maybe present a little more information, or make sure that you're in the right place. Now, when it comes to closing statements, in any presentation, expect to hear at least 6 no's on average in some way, shape, or form. If somebody says no to you, it's not necessarily a no, I'm not going to buy. You could look at it as a no, I'm not ready, no, I don't have enough information, no, I haven't heard the thing to tip it in for me. So again, don't be all upset if somebody says no to you. You're going to have to, in the presentation lifestyle, when you're a salesperson or you're a presenter, you're going to have to learn how to ask different ways and expect that they say no different ways all the way along this process. You simply need to have multiple ways to be able to ask these questions. So again, you might say, so what do you think? Or, you ready to get started? Or, can we finalize this? All three of those are closing questions, and they're not these big, long, intricate whatever. You could say something like, you ready? Now, notice I said that with a fun, playful tone. If you say that the wrong way, it's probably too short and curt for some people. Well, again, we should be having fun. Your tone should be lighthearted. We're in a very fun point. What happens is too many times salespeople now get down to the brass tacks and they get serious. Well, if you get serious, they're going to get serious. If you're having fun, they're having fun. Stay fun along the way. Hey, you ready to get started? You know, the whole idea is if they're not, they're going to tell you. If they are, they'll say yes. Now you finalize the order, and you can do it right now with your approval. Can we finalize this? Are you ready to get started? In other words, you can do that right then and there. Understand you're going to have multiple ways. Remember, 94% quit after the fourth call, or after the fourth call. 60% of the business is done in the fifth call or after. You've got to stay the course. You've got to stay in there. Big ticket referrals, again, we go back to third-party endorsements. These are your biggest customers, or these are the big guys. As I just came out with my latest book, Without Customers, You Got Nothing, the first thing I did is went back to some of the speakers and trainers and customers that I've had along the years and asked them if they would write a testimonial or an endorsement of my book. Now, I've got some great people. Jack Canfield sold 150 million books. It's a wonderful endorsement and testimonial. Keith Cunningham, one of the nicest guys and best business development guys I know. Tremendous testimonial. So the fact of the matter is, you go back to those who you've served in the past, who love the level of service you've provided, and see if they'll say something nice about you or your work style or whatever it might be that would encourage others to take advantage of what you have to offer. We're always looking for a win-win close, that your prospect or customer get exactly what they want, and you give it to them in such a way that it works for you or your organization, your company. Again, you want your customer to be happy in all this. It's not about them winning and you losing, you winning and them losing. It's about both sides winning. The only way that everybody can truly be served is if both sides win, and there's an acceptable margin for each. They get the value they desire, you get the margin you want. It's all a good thing. Now, one of the ways you can do this, and do it with some tact, is to have them really start to work within the sales parameters you have. And then you could ask a question like, if we can get the deal approved that way, would you commit to it? Would you feel good about it? Would that make you happy? So again, we work within the buyer's desired way of buying and our company's desired way of selling, and we do it in such a way that it works for all sides. It's really about creating that win-win scenario. Pluses and minuses, this is the old Franklin balance sheet method close. This is one of the easiest and best closes that's available to you. Simply what you do is you take a piece of paper, you draw a line down the middle, you draw a line across the top, you put advantages on one side and disadvantages on the other side. You start listing the advantages of what making this purchase would do for the person. You list the disadvantages of what making this purchase would do for that prospect. And you start to create a visual confirmation of why there are more things and more reasons why they should take this action than not take this action. It's really simply a matter of tipping the scales towards the purchase side. Again, what are all the advantages for taking action today? This is a written and visual presentation of all those advantages. Why is this good? If we go back to some of the earlier lessons, again, we remember about 85% of the folks are visual learners. So if we can create this advantage, and it's a long list of advantages and a minor list of disadvantages, we also get it all out on the table. We know what they're thinking is good. We know what they're thinking is bad. It also gives us the opportunity from a weathering the storm standpoint to be able to handle this as well. Very simple way of doing it, the Franklin balance sheet method. Another good close is the pennies a day. Can you tell me how much too much you think this is? This is as we're starting to qualify. Again, notice we're asking a question. We're kind of prepping for success within the closing process. We've gone back to that stage, but we're trying to get a gauge on how much too much they think your product is. If they say it's $2,000 and your price is $3,000, you're only $1,000 off. So then what you can do, once you've established the difference between what they think it's worth and what the actual price is, or in their mind you start to develop value by dividing that $1,000 difference by the life expectancy of the product and breaking it down to the ridiculous. Do you realize that the decision is now just pennies a day? We hear this all the time. If something is a higher price point, we'll break it down to the ridiculous. That's only pennies a day. It's only a few cents here or there. So it's the same kind of thing in your closing process. You might want to take it and break it down to the ridiculous. Another way of doing a very similar thing is trading one thing for another thing. Exchange some small item and its cost for your item and its benefits. So one of the ways you might want to put that is, well, you know what? It's really less than a Starbucks a day. It now gives them a frame of reference in their world. Now, the other part that's interesting about this is it also many times opens up the conversation and really gets you to what's limiting their business. It puts it in a frame of reference for them. So you say, well, that's less than a Starbucks a day. They might say, well, but I couldn't give up my Starbucks. But do you understand how this benefit will work for your entire family for less than that Starbucks a day? Wow, when you put it that way, I could give up my Starbucks. Or whatever the case might be. Not necessarily a Starbucks. Whatever that they spend money on consistently. Some people talk about it, it's less than a pack of cigarettes a day. What if you cut your cigarette smoking back? You'd have all the benefits of this product and greater health as well. Now, I know that that can be a touchy subject for people, but I'm raising it to your awareness so that you start to think through replacing one small thing with the benefits that whatever your product delivers for just that small thing a day. Similar strokes for different folks. You might even come up to a point where you say something like, another couple is using our system, and they originally indicated that they were concerned about the investment. But less than a month into it, they relayed to us how delighted they were that they actually made the choice. So again, you're not the only person who's ever been in this situation. You're not the only person who's ever said, wow, I'm not sure I want to spend the money today, or man, that seems like a lot of money. That you can relay to somebody, we've heard this before. Somebody just like you had a situation where they felt that, it was a pretty good investment. And yet they made that investment, and once they got it home and they put it into their lives, man, it made their lives better and easier. And they're so happy they did. Could you see yourself doing the same thing? You notice what that was coming out of there? That was called a closing question. I now shut up and I let them answer. I close my mouth every time I ask a closing question. I don't speak again unless they open their mouth. This is what we want to do. We want to close the sale. Closing the sale is exactly that. We shut the door. We ask a closing question and we listen for an answer. If I say, so what do you think? I'll be as quiet as I can be as long as I can be it. It's up to them at this point. They have to give me an answer to that. This is where young salespeople will run scared. They'll open their mouth first and then they open the sales back up. This is about closing the sale. Once you ask the closing question, you be quiet. Wait for them to give you an answer. Just that simple. Their situation is really no different than yours. Can you see how this could be advantageous to you? All those kinds of things. Those are all closing questions that now help finalize this order. That's what we're looking to do, is finalizing the order along the way. Sometimes you can flex the budget. I appreciate that you have budget constraints. So they're responsible. You like that. Tell them that you appreciate the fact that they're under a budget. Now, do you ever bend the budget for something that can be truly beneficial for your family? Have you ever done this before? If they've done it before, they'll probably do it again. Again, they set precedents that they will flex the budget, provided they see enough benefit from the offering to make a difference for their family. Really, that's what it comes down to. Are they getting the benefits they need? Sometimes you can help them by relating to their family. Would this help keep the troops happy? A happy family makes a better home. Is this something that would make your overall family happier? Maybe you could live with this or live without it. But how about the rest of the family? Is it a concern that would help make the troops happy at home? This solution can deliver the resources necessary to allow them to pursue their dreams. In the financial services, as an example, let's say you're talking to a young married couple and you're talking about life insurance. Well, life insurance for a young married couple that has a couple young kids is kind of an intangible, because they're not looking for a death benefit when they're 28 years old, per se. But if you can say, well, if you start now, you can accumulate these funds throughout your life. You could use the cash values for college education when it comes to that time. Your premiums are going to be less today than whenever. You're insurable now. You may not be in the future. So is this something that will allow you to have a better family situation long term? There's an example of taking this kind of, can you keep the troops happy over a longer period of time by taking action now kind of strategy. So what I want you to do is I want to think through what's worked for you to this point. And like always, I want you to list them. I want to add to your repertoire, not totally replace it. You're already doing some great things, or you wouldn't be where you are today. Take the things that are working for you and write them down to make sure you have a journal of them. List it. Why? So that you can go back and review them when you need to, and then add these things that you've learned here today to the resources you've already created. Remember, you can have anything in life you want. when you just help enough other people get what they want. I want you to be the best you can be. I want you to be as successful as possible, and I want you to do it with the greatest quality. I want your customers for you to come back to you begging for your product, wanting to spend more money with you because you've done such a quality job of presenting, working through these 7 steps of the selling cycle, and handling them with quality. You can truly have anything in life you want when you help enough other people get what they want. Again, this has been Scott Schilling. I'm delighted to be your trainer in this series. I want to help you engage the sell better than you ever have. If you need additional resources, know that they're always available to you. You can go to www.scottschilling.com at any time to find those resources. If you have questions along the way, feel free to email me at scott@scottschilling.com. And know, I'm always here for you to ensure that you do the best going forward. This is Scott Schilling saying, until we meet again next time, I only wish the best for you. Keep on doing the great things you're doing, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Take care.